we have to do AM talk. I have lawyer Amaliba, and Abraham Amaliba is a member of the NDC and a member of the party's legal team. Thanks for joining me, Abraham. I think this year we haven't met.
No, this is my first time.
Happy New Year.
Same to you.
I've been reading a lot about you, though, and you know, when
We
you
are in
appear on the
operation,
shows,
so-
when you appear on the shows and you see social media, and you see MPP communicators and
Yeah,
some of the things that they say. And we also have Abu Ramadan. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
He's an in-law of the vice president.
Oh, is that the only? He's a former PNC youth.
Now
MPP member.
Now MPP member. Oh, Abu, how convenient.
No, it's not. I became a member of the MPP before the victory, the sweet victory.
Okay, I hear you. How
The
are you?
crashing. Defeat.
How are you?
I'm fine.
And how's your family? How's your wife?
Well, she's doing
Great, great. Now, we know the first thing we have to talk about is the Gambia. And I have to start with you, Abraham. Your own observation so far and where we are as far as the issue with the Gambia is.
Let me say good morning to your viewers. It's a worrying situation, considering the fact that the whole of West Africa has gone democratic and the wind of democracy was sweeping across the continent. It's a worrying situation to find that we have this issue on our hands in Gambia. I've heard some say that, look, Jammeh is simply saying that he wants to petition the results, and that just as it happened in Ghana, and that we were told that Nana Akufo-Addo did the right thing, we should also allow him to petition. But I think that what is important for me is the way and manner he went about the whole election results. Initially, he had conceded and was ready to hand over. Then all of a sudden, he did a U-turn. I would also say that I heard comments from the opposition indicating that they were going to try him for human rights abuses. And I thought that that might have sparked his resistance. Be that as it may, I think that the people of Gambia would want a smooth changeover of government. I've heard that ECOWAS is preparing. I'm told that the Senegalese troops are already in Gambia. My issue is that how will they go about this military intervention without, say, loss of lives, innocent loss of lives? My concern is with the ordinary Gambian who may not be so much involved in the military activity. How do we ensure that innocent lives are not lost? But I think that all in all, if Yayah Jammeh actually loves his country, he should give way and then I think take up some place in, I think Nigeria wants him to come, and then Morocco have also asked that he can also come. I think he can go there and live.
Even Mauritania, the president was there overnight. So, but we know that it's a situation that has beleaguered Africa for some time, where Ghana, of course, has set the pace. We've had Big Brother Nigeria also following suit in the early part of the 2000s and all. But if you take a look at it, is it an order that perhaps is fading out, or because nations have their own sovereignty, they can hold on to such status quo?
Thank you very much, and good morning to your viewers. It's an order that I would say is phasing out. When you look at the sovereignty or the continent as a whole, democracy seems to be taking over from dictatorial governments and all of that. But this Gambia situation is a new revelation on its own, because from conceding defeat, congratulating your opponent for a sweet victory, to a week after going back to say, I don't agree with the results again. And mediations that have gone on, foreign heads of state that have gone on. And it's unfortunate. Our former president also engaged himself in the process of trying to get him to step down, but failed to do that. At some point, I was happy when I heard NDC, some functionaries of the NDC say Mama had been able to convince Yayah Jammeh to step down, I was happy. But I think the way ECOWAS wants to go is the way we should go as a continent. As a sub-region, I always say, what's the use of AU? If AU cannot fight for sovereign countries, when they have dictators refusing to accept election results of this nature. And ECOWAS is setting the pace. And I'm happy. ECOWAS is willing to move into Gambia, to get Yayah Jammeh out, to get Boro sworn in as president of Gambia. So that would instill some discipline amongst the leaders of, or members of ECOWAS state that, listen, it's not just about you being a president of a sovereign state. So long as you're a member of ECOWAS, you're part of us. When the people of your country speak and they say they want a change, and they vote for a change, you should be ready to respect the views of your people. And if not, we would enforce those decisions made by your people. And I think ECOWAS is right, and they should go ahead with it. Now the biggest contention is, as at 12 midnight yesterday, his tenure was to have expired. The Parliament of, do they call the Parliament or the House of Assembly?
The Parliament. The
Parliament had extended his tenure by 90 days. This is a house that he controls, virtually. A new house has not been sworn in. This is a house that he controls virtually. So it's like extending his own mandate by 90 days. And the possibility of the man being sworn in. This morning, whilst on my way here, I was listening to one radio station where they called a journalist in Gambia who was saying from what they're hearing, it's likely the man will be sworn in Senegal in an embassy, which is part of the Gambian soil. So long as it's in Senegal, but it's an embassy of Gambia, he can be sworn in there. But I think ECOWAS should first and foremost move in, get him out. It's unfortunate he will go the Gbagbo way, but he must go the Gbagbo way to prove to African leaders that we should stop that greed. It's greed that brings about all of this.
Ebi, did he have a chance to perhaps remedy the situation and not come to this point?
The only way...
And what options were there for him?
The only way we couldn't have gotten to this point was for him to concede and leave office. Yes. Because Barrow had won the elections, and I don't think that there was going to be a compromise to say, oh, Barrow, wait for another 2 years before you come into power. There was no way that would happen. But I think that he is now afraid of his own shadows. He's been there for 24 years. He's been there, and you notice that there have been some human rights abuses. Even Ghanaians suffered under his reign. And so he's now looking at, how do I go home peacefully? Nigerians have offered him an olive branch, but Nigerians themselves have no credibility the way they did to Charles Taylor, handed him over to where he is today. So he cannot trust that he can go to Nigeria and be safe. And so what he's doing now is fighting for his own survival. I'm happy to hear that some of the military men in Ivory Coast, in Gambia, are beginning to work with the ECOWAS team to ensure that they take him out. I also heard Entry Danso saying that rather than going in forcefully and causing chaos and people dying, you could use intelligence within the army to ensure that you eliminate him. You've seen that happen to some head of states, where their own bodyguards would just shoot them. So we couldn't have, there was no way we couldn't have gotten to this point with his belligerent nature. And so we are here because of just one person who thinks that his life, for that matter, is more important than the nation. And
we have on the line Dr. Vladimir Ntridan. So he's the director for academic affairs for the Ghana Armed Forces Command and Staff College. It's an institution that has trained people and serving army as well as various military officers over the period across West Africa and the rest of Africa. A very good morning to you, Dr. Vladimir Ntridan.
Good morning, and good morning to your listeners.
Now, particularly when we know that this is where we are, and we have precedent of some leaders, and Gbagbo, of course, comes to mind. can there be some remedy to the current situation if, let's say, there's some confrontation, but he still wants to be let off the hook?
Well, the point is that diplomacy doesn't cease even when war starts. So Yayah Jammeh has a chance again to negotiate his exit at any point in time. Now we are at a point of deterrence. The Nigerian frigate is there. Senegal has amassed troops along the border. Ghana has promised troops. And it must dawn on Yayah Jammeh right now that there is a possibility of pulling the trigger. And as I said, diplomacy doesn't cease. Other than that, the only thing that will happen is that he might be picked up just like Babu was picked up or any other person was picked up. But let's make it clear, the Babu situation is completely different from this one. And many people are saying, is it going to be a regime change or that? That's not the case. This is a completely different scenario.
Now, if we've gotten to the point where we have troops massing at the border and they could make entry, is it because perhaps if you look at the land mass, the population, it's easier to control and even and confront any sort of confrontation if they should come, and that's the reason why ECOWAS is moving in?
No, ECOWAS is moving in because of a principle that wouldn't allow such situations to happen. I mean, the mechanism from 1989, the protocol of 2001, and then the principle of the standby forces, all enjoin us to go in. But I think the straightforward answer to your question is the very fact that we are thinking about civilian casualties and whatnot and whatnot. I think in every such situation, the intervening forces know exactly what they want to do. But the opposition, what Yayah Jammeh might do is to try and use the civilian population as as guinea pigs one way or the other to make intervention quite difficult, which is a kind of ploy also in war. I'm expecting that he is going to make it difficult for the intervention to last longer. But he's not going to succeed because the whole of the population is nothing beyond 2 or 3 million, I believe. And the army is, you need just a brigade-sized army to be able to just do this thing within some few hours. And so I don't think there's going to be any serious opposition. More so that the vice president has resigned and there is a kind of schism, there is a possibility that the population will rally behind the intervening force. And that is a positive sign.
How come leaders who try to have the intervention or talk to him in the prior to now failed? We had former President John Mahama as well as Johnson Sirleaf, and we also had Buhari of Nigeria, etc., all make those interventions to see whether they could convince him. How come they failed?
It's a very unfortunate that it's just because of the intransigence of somebody who doesn't see his future, the belief that he will be hounded. The threat given by one opposition member in London, I think, is hounding him a lot. And he believes that if he just gives in, he's going to be tortured. But I think it's a little, excuse me for my word, it's a little insane, stupid, because that is the main reason why he should have negotiated from that point of view for a better deal. He could have negotiated in such a way that he would not be hounded by anybody in the interim. The Hisni Habre case is the case in point. And so it's just because of the intransigence of one person. And remember, Gaddafi did the same thing. He said he would die in his country. But in the last minute, look at it. He wanted to run away. So will it happen to Yayah Jammeh? He's just been intransigent, but he has not done the calculus very well. To know that it doesn't bode well for him if he goes through that trajectory.
And lastly, before we let you go, if he agrees to any kind of truce or arrangement at all, what is there for him?
Well, I think if he agrees very much now, I think the punishment will be lesser. And in war and peace, such situations lessens the anger of the people and things like that. I believe there is still a chance. Nigeria has offered him an asylum, and I believe the anger might minimize if today he believes that, look, for the sake of my people, I surrender, but give me A, B, C. Then we say we can give you A or B and not C, kind of. He has put himself in a certain corner where it's now very difficult for it. Now I can't see Yayah Jammeh negotiating his exit peacefully now. I can't believe it, and then he's going to have a problem. Somebody asked me yesterday about the ICC, and I said, well, all possible things are there, but The ICC doesn't come in during such situations and say, bring the person. Incidentally, the chief prosecutor of the ICC used to be the Attorney General of Gambia under Yayah Jammeh. And so it might be interesting to see how this thing works. But I don't think she is going to ask Yayah Jammeh to be brought. It doesn't hold that. That's not how the ICC works.
Well, thank you very much. Dr. Vladimir Intradanso is the Director, Academic Affairs, the Ghana Armed Forces Command and Staff College here in Accra. He used to be with the Legon Center for International Affairs and Diplomacy. And so he's an international relations expert herein. But
you see, he touched on an important part, which is the ICC. In his case, he's not being sought after by the ICC. So he's not in the category of Bagbo, in the category of Charles Taylor. And so his issue is less serious. Now...
But it's still serious.
Yeah, less serious in the sense that if he negotiates his way out to a foreign country, he could live there peacefully without anybody coming in for him. It is rather if he allows this intervention to take place and people die as a result of his intransigence, that is when it can escalate for the ICC to be looking for him. So I think that he should do the honorable thing.
Abu, you wanted to add, and we even had to contribute 200 troops. Why should we?
No, I think we should, based on, you see, Ghana as a country, we've set the pace when it comes to democracy, and we would expect other African leaders to also follow, African countries to follow suit, and we should be the senior brothers when it comes to, we should be if Ghana is called the police of Africa, I'll be excited to make sure that we instill discipline everywhere, for people to see us as role models, to take a cue from what we do. But I disagree. I don't know, personally, I'm against the International Criminal Court. I am against that entire process.
But you say you disagree with me. What did I say? And you disagree?
No.
You say you disagree.
You disagree with the International Criminal Court?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Not me.
Not you. Abuchi. This morning, we've not come to the politics yet. Now we are doing international.
Would there be politics?
Okay.
Yeah. The next one.
The Hajj issue is a very critical issue.
It's a warm-up.
You see, but I disagree with the ICC, that whole setup sitting there. But I think that's why I say ECOWAS and the African Union, we should have, they should show that they have the teeth to bite. We should be able to take responsibility for our own actions as Africans and deal with our own when they go wrong or when they do things that are not right. And I agree with Abraham when he says if he is not careful and he allows the thing to escalate and the troops moving, but even the army general, the military general, I don't know his rank, but the senior officer who said he won't allow his men to engage in an unnecessary battle in Gambia. This morning what I'm hearing is he's not even a man you can trust him by his words. Because after the election, he called Adam Abaru and said the entire military force is behind him. Then quickly when Jammeh said he has revoked the results, he said, no, now we are even supporting Jammeh. So he's somebody we can't even trust to hold the end of the bargain to make sure there is peace and peaceful transition. Now
let's move to the issues. And the New Patriotic Party, they convened a press conference. It was addressed by the Deputy General Secretary of the party, Lawyer Nana Obri-Boahin. Seem to be suggesting that the NDC has no moral right to be complaining about attacks, when indeed, Abu Ramadan, we know that supporters of the NDC somewhat have been attacked across the country. We've even had seizures of state property. We're told that because they happened in 2009 as a result of some retaliation of events in 2001, it should be accommodated, and that even the police have no moral authority to be questioning that just because they didn't do same for the NDC.
No,
the suspects were.
I think what our Deputy General Secretary was saying was that the police should not today find their voice because it is the NDC that is being, or that is the NDC that is crying. The police should show even-handedness, and they should be honest to their job and deal with the issues void of political opposition. That was the position of the Deputy General Secretary.
And what should the police have been biased?
So we are saying, what the Deputy General Secretary was saying was that, listen, crime has no expiry date. Crime is not a tin of tomatoes or a tin of milk, where you say it has an expiry, a shelf life. After some time, it has expired. But crime has no expiry date. There were young men who were butchered in broad daylight in Agbogboshi. After the 2008 elections, moving to 2009, butchered and killed till today. Not a single soul has been arrested or dealt with over that matter. And that is also. Those were the issues he was raising. And questioning. That Isakaba press conference they went to organize at their party headquarters. Senior fellows, elderly men and women, dressed as if they were vigilante groups, with red cloth all over their head, as if they were a bunch of vigilante men, sat there, and Mr. Kofi Potofi should even be the last person.
Why?
We expect him to speak on this matter. In 2009, after President Mills took over, Mr. Kofi Potofi didn't even wait for the then president, President Mills, to even appoint him as the boss for what's it called?
NADMO.
NADMO. He moved in with his goons, and they took over NADMO, and he sat in the chair as the boss and wrote and signed a dismissal letter to the then NADMO chief. In what capacity? So he should even be the last person talking about takeovers. He should even be the very last person. So
there's a retaliation?
No, you see, we don't condone, or we won't condone such conduct to say it is right.
You're not condoning, you're convening a press conference, and you're and the press conference, you're mentioning police officers, even the head of the police service.
Oh yes, that
and mentioning some others. That's almost like a threat.
No, in the police, we know there were NDC organizers who were in the police who were doing NDC's bidding. All they did was to.
That's not a fair comment.
No,
are you saying that?
It is a very fair comment.
Are you saying the police is not professional?
So, no. The police is very professional.
They are,
but some elements.
I see.
No, some elements, and I can tell you, I'll mention it. But one police.
No, you will come to your turn. Abu, relax. And
you should have allowed me to land.
No, you have landed. but Abraham, for me, as where I'm coming from as a media person, physically, we've had reports. The media has reported extensively. MPP supporters, whether few numbers, but brutalizing NDC supporters, for which, of course, you indeed have the right to raise such concerns. What do you make of the MPP's press conference?
The press conference yesterday was more reckless than even the attacks.
They were more
than their press conference?
Why?
Than the attacks. Oh. The attacks on our people.
Abu, no interjections.
The press conference was more reckless than the attacks that took place. Because you expect that a political party that is no longer in opposition, and I'm sure they are suffering from that syndrome. They think they are still in opposition. You don't expect a political party that is in government to be speaking this way. Because your candidate, who is now the president, swore an oath to protect lives and property. And when lives are at stake and state properties are being vandalized, then you have a deputy general secretary coming with such a press statement. But is it surprising? It is their stock in trade.
Meaning what?
We told the people of this country that if you don't want Ghana to look like their party headquarters, how it used to be when there were cudgels flying everywhere, don't vote them. The people voted. So this is a symptom of what they were doing to themselves in opposition. So I'm not surprised. Did it end there? It didn't end there. Their chairman, before this press conference, you heard what he said. You know, glorifying the attacks and saying that they were protecting state property. That cannot be coming from a party that is in government. In fact, you will notice that what they were talking about are previous events. If I want to go back, I will say that post-election violence under the Fourth Republic started with the MPP. Oh. Under this Fourth Republic. When Rawlings handed over
to himself,
to Kufuor, you saw what they did. That was the beginning. Mobi Squad, NADMO, you know, Mobi Squad used to be there. NADMO, they went there and drove our people and put their people there.
So you're saying 2000
So I'm saying that
was just a retaliation?
I'm saying that if they go that way, I would say that it is the MPP that started post-election violence under the Fourth Republic. And it must take them to stop it. They started it, they must end it.
Oh, how?
So it's equalized. 2009 equalized it.
You see, you are not listening to my submission. I'm saying that if they go that trajectory to try to go back and talk about things that happened, I will also go back to that time and tell them that they started it and recount. Indeed, in Tamale, there was a guy.
It was widely reported by the media too.
There was a guy in Tamale called Red, who had a gun and shot as if he was a military man all over. What happened to him? An MPP guy.
No.
So I think that.
What incident is it?
I think.
What incident are you
Go back and ask your chairman in Bunabu. He will know Red.
I know Red. So what incident are you referring to?
He's connected to MPP. And
What
man
incident?
is still.
Incident?
Doesn't matter. I'm talking about violence.
In Tiripoli at the funeral, a young man removed the pistol,
you see,
fired continuously. An NDC activist. Till today, is not being arrested.
Intolerance.
What are you talking about?
Intolerance at the highest order. You were talking and I kept quiet.
I'm quiet.
You were talking and I kept quiet.
No, just the point you made.
No, the point I made is because of the earlier point.
Abu, no interjection.
So one would have expected that you have won elections, get down to the business of governing. One would have expected that the president would have made a public statement to condemn such acts.
For what?
Because you are no longer a leader of a political party, but a nation. And one life lost is one life too many. This is happening. In fact, it abated for a while after the declaration. Then when they swore him in, it escalated. Indeed, this time, for the first time, we are seeing party foot soldiers going to passport office to collect that place and work there. Can you imagine? And some went to the harbor. Can you imagine all this?
Is that what happened?
So I think that
the
hoodlums
were at the passport office.
Yes, the hoodlums. The hoodlums. The hoodlums.
Six.
And the tagri that is taking place.
Hoodlums and tagri.
Yes, the hoodlums who are engaged in tagri are engaged in these acts must be made to stop. If it's the invisible forces, they belong to the MPP. Let the Nana Akufo-Addo make a public statement to this effect. This tagri must stop.
Abu, the scenario of 2001, which is post-2000 elections, and the scenario of 2009, which is post-2008 elections, were some of the reasons why the IEA, in conjunction with the rest of civil society and the political party, decided to put together a transition act. Now we have the act, we have a smooth process taking place at the top, and at the down, it seems to be chaos. And we have to be realistic. The country belongs to everybody else. But of course, the political power resides in the MPP because they have won political power, and that is fair enough. But do you think that then we've set the purpose of having the Transition Act coming in the same in effect?
You see, when you go to Nima, after every election cycle, when there's a change in government, the transition only doesn't happen at the Accra International Conference Center between Osafo Mafu and the top leadership of the MPP and the NDC. In Nima, the transition happens at the public toilets. They are all aware that when it is time for our party to be in power, we control all the public toilets. When the cycle changes and your party comes, we walk away and give you the public toilet to also run for the next 4 or 8 years, so long as you're in government. But in 1 or 2 instances, you go and those who are enjoying from the public toilet say, no, we are not going to release it. There will be some altercations. But as much as that is, we are saying that collectively, we owe it a responsibility to stop this blame game, this crying more than the bereaved. Stop this blame game and look at the solution. Let's sit down and find a solution to this problem.
What do you think should have been the solution?
You see, clearly, what business has an NDC Goro boy got to do at the passport office when his party is no more in power?
I don't understand you.
You've been there chopping for 8 years. No, listen. And look, let me paraphrase. I'm paraphrasing the Greater Accra organizer of the NDC. I was on a Asempa with him last week Friday.
Goro boys are illegal. People are hanging around.
And they are hangs on.
And yes.
You're interjecting.
No, I just want to draw your attention.
Okay.
Goro is
the definition of Goro boys is not lost on me. That one I can assure you.
I think we all know Goro boys.
Yeah, so no, but why are you offended?
But Goro boys, they can even operate whether the MPP or NDC is there.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Why are you saying?
So when you have Goro boys who have direct access to the top and their business is going well for them because they have direct access and their party is in power and they have direct access. After you've lost power, what business do you have doing staying there?
But Goro boys don't ask permission from anybody before.
I'm saying, Roland, you just don't go to work the following day. You've been an active member of NDC in the last 8 years.
Abu, let me ask you this. Just like you talk about Nima, etc., rather, shouldn't we have a more civilized way of doing such transitions at that level too? Instead of just brutal, because, for example, we did a story from the central region in which the toll booth, that kind of borders or sandwiches, the central region, that part of the central region and Ashanti region, in the Asin area, has been abandoned because those manning were said to be NDC people, and the MPP supporters who also came to raid the place don't have the mandates, they don't have the machines, they don't have the tickets, etc. So now cars just ply without paying tolls.
Freely.
Yes.
No, you see, it's unfortunate. That's what I'm saying.
So how can you say such scenarios are unfortunate, but at the same time you tend to justify that they need to be happening?
Roland, I'm saying, when the transition comes, after 4, 8, 12, 16, 20 years of an MPP regime, when our time is up and we leave, when the NDC come into office, believe you me, they are not going to leave a single person there. Everybody will go from the top to the bottom. Even some civil servants will be affected by the process of change.
Why?
Even the civil servants will not be spared. It's a natural phenomenon. But I'm saying together, collectively.
But that's very crude.
No, it is. It's a normal practice everywhere. Why? When a change of government comes, you are a new president, you expect to work with people you trust. You are made chief executive of an institution, you expect to work with people you trust. Ask Abraham Amaniba when he was a board member at STC, whether he would have been comfortable if I was made a secretary to their board. Certainly not. He would want somebody he's comfortable with and he can work with. So that the transition process, when it comes or change comes into power. But when the NDC want to behave more holier than the Pope, as if to say they...
So you're saying because they refuse to leave their positions?
Oh, no, yes.
So you attack them?
No. You see, we've not encouraged attacks. If you've noticed, over the last week or two, the parties, from day one, when the story started coming out, the General Secretary of the party issued a statement calling on the party people to restrain themselves and not proceed on that line. The president himself, His Excellency, had called on party supporters to celebrate in moderation and have a big heart for forgiveness. We should be in a spirit of forgiving each other and making peace amongst ourselves. If you remember the Thanksgiving service, that was the theme for his message. That was the theme for his message. So, Abraham, we should rather find a solution rather than trying to blame each other.
How do we need a transition there?
Well, are we going to do the Hajj?
Anyway,
very important.
Anyway,
1 minute.
I wasn't, let me correct him, I wasn't a board member of STC.
You were a board member of?
No, he should find
I thought they put you...
He should find your facts.
Oh, about
find your facts.
Why
he said he's not.
You resigned from that position?
No, I wasn't even...
Because they issued a statement, I saw it.
I didn't even go there for
inauguration. You don't know that?
I didn't even go there for inauguration.
STC?
No, I've not been there.
You didn't go for the inauguration?
I've not been there. I said I've not been there. I've never been there.
You didn't go for the inauguration?
In my view, there need to be a stop at a certain point.
And you're saying this is the time that you should have
stopped? This is the time, because this is the time also there is a law. This law intended to resolve some of these things.
No, it's not part of it.
You see, this law...
it's supposed to have a trickle-down effect.
To have a trickle-down, yes. And
I mean, that's how I see it.
We shouldn't be seizing cars. You notice at this time, no seizing of cars on roadside. So there's an intention. That's why the law came in, hoping that this will go down and affect the grassroots. It is wrong I don't think that when a new government comes, civil servants are asked to go. No, that doesn't happen. It is politically appointed.
They are just
person.
reshuffled.
So I think that we should now begin to say that enough is enough, and this is the time for us as a nation to come together and stop it. Stopping it would mean that the MPP should take the lead because they are the political party that is in power. Now, with the Transition Act and together with leadership, and that's why I wanted an explicit statement from Nana Akufo-Addo. Stop it.
For what?
Stop it.
He should say.
When similar things happen in the U.S.,
what do you expect Nana to say?
When similar things happen in the U.S., you heard Donald Trump tell his supporters that he does not condone it and they should stop it.
Oh,
okay.
If the MPP know that they hold Nana Akufo-Addo in high esteem as a president, when he says stop it, they will stop it.
The president has asked the people to stop it.
And I think the time has come.
There's a story that says the Hajj board under the NDC apparently left a debt of some 23 million Ghana cedis. And it says sources in government have told City News that Flynas, formerly known as NAS Air, domestic low-cost airline in Saudi Arabia, is owed the highest amount. And just shows that we didn't manage the Hajj well. That's what the import of the story. I have to start with you, Abraham.
Well, I've been reading what the former chairman of the Hajj board is saying. He's saying that this is not new. Such debts do arise, but he's also saying that they will give a response, a comprehensive response to these allegations. I think that this is one side of the story. Let's also hear from the other side. And he is saying that in their handing over to the new Hajj board, they would explain all these things. But he has indicated that this is not new. This happens, and it is not as if it is so, what is his word? It is so alarming because such debts do arise. So
23 million Ghana cedis is alarming.
Yeah, so, but he is in the saddle. He knows what previous debts have looked like.
Maybe he's
and then he's saying that, yes, he said he cannot confirm or deny the amount, except to say that there will be a full account of his stewardship, and he will account to the new Hajj board.
Roland, you've been given an institution to run. You are asked the simple question: are you owing or not?
Well, they are owing. It's obvious. But he says that it's nothing unusual.
But you see, it is very wrong for you to say because it is a normal practice that we should owe. When I took over Hajj board, I also decided to come and work the institution side that we owe. And you see, Tanko's administration, I would classify as one of the worst administrations.
Was it a time when you went to Hajj? Did you experience?
No, I've not been to Hajj yet.
That was under the time his in-law went to Hajj.
No, Dr. Bawumia didn't go on the ticket of the state. Don't forget.
And I'm saying that
he went. No. His Excellency, the Vice President, then Vice Presidential candidate, was not part of the 1,500 No. I need to.
He was not part of the board. The state. He went himself.
He went by himself.
No, who
paid his own.
Yes. But it was under Tanko as chairman, and made it smooth for him to go. And this time, under Tanko, we've not seen people sleeping everywhere as refugees. So it was smooth.
You not let me make my point.
No, you can.
The chief imam went there. You didn't even give him car. He was picking taxi all over. Last Hajj. I'm saying that Tanko's regime is one of the worst. Look, in the last 4 years.
By what benchmark?
In the last 4 years. Just this trip. Look at the same story. It tells you 452 passengers could not participate in the last Hajj process. That 450 consistently. Every year we leave behind not less than 600 to 700. Their money still today. Some who they paid their monies 4 years ago, till today have not been able to travel, neither have their monies been refunded.
Really?
Ask yourself, where did that money go and what was used for that?
But I know they are agents. They are agents, so they pay the money to the agents.
No, they don't. You see,
they don't pay the money to the Hajj board.
The money?
They pay the money to the agents.
It's paid to the agents. Then the agent pays to the Hajj board.
So how would you know whether those agents pay the Hajj board or not?
Why?
That's speculation.
When you make payments, you are issued receipts. When you make payments at the bank, you are issued receipts. And it's part of your documentation. So at that stage, when you are left behind, you don't go to the agent for your money. It's the Hajj board that takes responsibility because on their database, they have received your money and couldn't make arrangements for you because of maybe the numbers or whatever reason why you couldn't go.
Mainly because of the numbers.
It can't be because we have a quota. Last year they gave us 3,500.
We exceeded.
How could we have exceeded the quota?
No, because they give us a certain leverage.
Richard, Roland, when you have a quota, they say 200 people, and you say come and pay. It should be first come first serve basis. If the protocol lists are 50, you say okay, I'm giving 150 people the opportunity. So first come first serve.
But Abu, we have to be realistic. Hajj is a big deal for Muslims in our country.
Yes.
Okay. And we've seen, I believe, we have to be fair, over the last 8 years, a better management of Hajj than we saw previously.
In what
Oh, in
respect?
terms of, and I've covered Hajj stories. Sometimes you went to the airport and they were sleeping and in very appalling
creation
conditions.
of the Hajj village.
No, relax.
And all of that.
And that's good. You can't
It didn't start during the NDC.
No, oh please,
It
let's
didn't
go,
start
let's
during
go.
the
And
NDC
then the organization was better. They said, oh, airlift the airlift. Of course, when we have residue of the number of passengers not going, it's also because they have quotas. So they begged the Saudi government to give them extra seats or people or the chance to have extra people going. Sometimes the Saudi government also comes the last minute and say, please, we're cutting everything off. And it's understandable. But you have to concede that the organization of the Hajj has been better. But then we may have difficulty with the debt, won't you say?
Roland, as much, that's why I said Tanko's regime will
we can't eat our cake and
No,
have
I'm
it,
saying
can we?
Tanko's regime will be the worst because of the way the monies have been managed. And I'm telling you, I've asked some colleagues of mine to put together a petition so that we petition the office of the vice president.
New.
Yes.
New, fresh.
Yes, to petition the office of the vice president. Petition the BNI, Yoko, to go into the finances of Hajj, the Hajj board. Because I think people have taken for granted the organization of Hajj and made themselves wealthy.
You know some of them.
Oh yeah, and I wouldn't want to mention names here, but I'm saying some people have taken advantage of Hajj and made themselves wealthy, not the interest of the pilgrims. When you go there, when you go to travel to Saudi, the way manner the pilgrims are treated in Saudi Arabia, they go and they come back, they can't talk because previously you always hear the problems of Hajj because 80%, 75 to 80% of the agents who are running the Hajj are NDC. So MPP is in power. Let's bastardize the process. Let's condemn the process and make sure that the process looks bad. But when NDC comes to power, whether it goes right or wrong, we are all quiet because yes, it is our party which is in government, so we will refuse. And I would use this medium to urge the NPP administration, His Excellency the President and Vice President. This is our first Hajj. We should be very careful when we have too many wolves sitting around the same pot of soup. We should be careful they don't spoil the party for us.
All right, so we have to end the conversation. Abu Ramadan with the MPP, thanks for joining me. And then also lawyer Abraham Amaliba is a member of the NDC's legal team. And thanks for joining me, gentlemen. We're taking a break. When we come back, we'll have some entertainment and wrap up.
You don't even understand.